Yo, 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 what's going on, everybody? My name is Rob Carmona, and welcome back to another episode of Rob the Mic. So, for last week's episode, I actually got a lot of good feedback, and thank you guys for doing that. Apparently, that sort of setup where I go through the advice first and then kind of jump into topics, it's not that I'm going to do it every week, but I guess it really worked last week, and people were kind of into that because I was able to kind of dive into the topics and kind of wrap it into everything versus how we normally do it, which is like talk about certain things and then just kind of hit up on some advice that will kind of talk about a certain point of the podcast. But this kind of revolves the podcast around the advice. So I'm actually going to do it again this week. I had a couple of things I want to talk to you guys about, but when I saw this piece of advice, I was like, nah, you know what? This is going to help me structure the podcast a little bit more for today, because there was kind of a few things I wanted to go over, but it's like there's an overarching theme in a way. So this just so happened to pop up, and I was like, this is perfect. So we're going to run it the same way we did last week, start with our advice, and then jump into the topic. So without further ado, let's run it up. So what I came across was this. Every time I feel this self-criticism creeping in, I just remind myself that there will be nothing more heartbreaking than looking back in 30 years and realizing that I spent my entire life hating myself when I could have been loving myself. One more time. Every time I feel the self-criticism creeping in, I just remind myself that there will be nothing more heartbreaking than looking back in 30 years and realizing that I spent my entire life hating myself when I could have been loving myself instead. And the reason why that hit a little closer to home is because I feel like for the first time in a couple weeks, I'm not going to say an epiphany, but I had a pretty good like realization about life and where I need to be, where I need to focus, why I need to focus on those things. And a part of that was like not being so hard on myself and not being so critical and not being so judgmental. And honestly, it's really that last part, that judgmental piece, because things didn't pan out the way that I thought they would. And certain things aren't panning out the way that I thought that they would. But I also can't beat myself up for them. I have to just continue doing what it is that I'm doing, because in those moments, I'm realizing that so much time is passing me by. And it's time being spent just wasting away that I'm either sad or I'm depressed or I'll fall into these like really ugly spirals. And it's like, fuck, don't get me wrong. Like, I always try to allot myself time to be sad, to go through it, to have my depressive spells. But I can't sit there and live in them. And I'm losing so much time doing so on a daily basis, because I'll have my moments, but sometimes those moments end up being a couple hours, and sometimes those couple hours turn into a couple days. And it's like, I can't keep letting shit like this happen. And it started with the 4th of July. I don't know. I was just kind of in my feels about everything. Like I was thinking about my Uncle Alfredo, and just, first 4th of July without him. And just because even though we didn't spend every 4th of July together, it's weird that he's not here for it. And then I can't hit him up and say, yo, like, what are you doing today? Or like, what's the move? What are you up to? What are you and Gabby up to? And this and that. Because it's like that piece of the puzzle is now gone. So I was like kind of dealing with that. And then my family felt a certain way about it too. So it was like kind of watching them deal with it, especially my grandma. So I had that. And then just where I was at, just mentally, how I was feeling with everything. And I was like, damn, I'm going to be, even though I was with my family, don't get me wrong, I love being with my family. It's cool. But I was still alone. Like I felt very alone. And I was going through it. And I was trying to keep busy and it wasn't really helping me out. And then thinking about this advice, I was like, shit, I got to do something to get out of it. Because this moment is going to pass me by. And I don't want to sit here and think back on it and be like, fuck, dude, you were just locked in your room, sad as fuck all day. Because you felt alone and you felt this, you felt that. Like, I allowed myself time for that. I always try to allow myself time, but I did. Sat in it for a little bit. And then I was like, all right, let's get it moving. I'm not going to get this back. This is where I'm at. This is what's going on. Let's make the best of it. I took off to Ralph's, picked up a cake for the family, picked up some drinks, and just came back and chilled. And I was like, let's turn this day around. Let's turn this fucking day around. I ended up barbecuing. I was out there barbecuing by myself, made myself a nice little drink. I was playing some Morgan Wallen. So I was like, it's America Day. It's proper to listen to some country. So I was chilling out, listening to country, just vibing by myself. And At first, I was bummed out about it, but for some reason that it just went away really, really fast. And granted, who knows? Maybe it was the alcohol that was helping me too, right? But there was something so nice about just being in that moment. I'm like, dude, like I'm barbecuing, I'm chilling. I was enjoying my time, my company with myself, which I don't do very often. I feel like I don't spend a lot of time just with myself, and I don't really appreciate that time, and I take it for granted. And my whole thing was, again, same thing with this advice. I didn't want to look back in 30 years and be like, oh, dude, not that I would remember this day specifically, but it's like I didn't want to think back and be like, oh, it was a horrible day, because it really wasn't. I have my family, I have my health, I have the people around me that I care for, that I was conversing with the entire day, sending pictures and videos and going back and forth and all this, seeing fireworks, which I fucking love fireworks. Like I love them so much. They're so rad. I've always have since I was a kid. So just kind of taking all of that in, I was like, nah, dude, there's so much to be thankful for. And like, I'm stoked to be in this position right now. And it was nice to have that little shift, but it was hard to get myself out of it. And it was hard to kind of realize that, like, hey, don't look back and be like, fuck, dude, you wasted it. Or don't look back tomorrow and be like, you wasted a whole fucking day. I can't do that. I can't let myself sit in it for that long. And there's certain periods of time that I have. And again, I've missed so much, I feel like. And I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to do that. And fast forward from 4th of July to Sunday, one of my buddies had gone out Saturday night, and his cousin had left her phone at a bar in K-Town. And he was like, hey, bro, we're fucking going to K-Town. I need you to go with me to go do this shit. I was like, for sure, let's run it up. Because we had already talked about kicking it on Sunday. We just didn't know what we were going to do. And it ended up being just a full-on Sunday fun day. And it was tight because a part of me was like, maybe I should just hit him up and like just cancel and just work on some photos and just do my thing. But I was like, nah, fuck this. Fuck this. I want something tight from this weekend. And that's what it was. So we go out, we do our thing, we're chilling, we grab the phone, we have a beer. We ended up eating some empanadas at this one restaurant. And it kind of started our day. We're like, what's next? What do we do? And the whole day, I had the same kind of mentality that I had that last half of the 4th of July, where I kept telling myself, like, don't live in your head. Get out. This is where you're at right now. You're never going to get this moment. You're never going to get this time back. Enjoy it. You're out with your brother right now. You're doing your thing. You're out in the streets. You know what I mean? I had my little shorts on. I was feeling it. I was doing, I was good. I was fucking good. Had a fresh pair of Vans on. I was like, feeling myself. You know what I mean? And it was dope. We were going from like different like restaurant / bar situations. We'd sit there, have a nice cocktail. We went from K-Town, ended up in the fashion district to the art district, and just kind of bouncing back and forth and like driving, taking our time, laughing, checking out all the graffiti everywhere, which of course for me, I always love it. It's one of my favorite things about LA is like the graffiti and art culture, that wherever you drive, there's pieces all over the place that are iconic. And there's certain things by certain artists for myself that I really look up to. And it's like getting to see how they treat typography, how they treat everything. And just, it's fucking sick for me. I love it. So it's like I got to experience art and also talk about it with somebody that I really love and care for and be like, oh, dude, this is this one dude. This is this one dude. Oh, shit, this one piece is like this. It's been here for X amount of years, whatever the fuck. So it's like getting to fully envelop myself in that was exactly what I needed. And I feel like since Sunday, I've just been kind of stepping a little bit different. And even throughout the day on Sunday, I noticed that my step was starting to change. My mentality was starting to change. That certain things I was just like easy breezy about. I wasn't checking my phone 24/7, just like eyes glued on it, always looking at IG or always doing something. Like I wasn't in it. I was just kind of living for where we were. And I was like, this is sick, dude. This is fucking sick. And I was like, this is what I want out of my life. I want to constantly look back and think about shit like this versus like all I did was waste my time. And I'm working towards something right now, I think like career wise as well, then I'm trying to put myself in that environment too. I'm trying to create more spaces that I'm allowing myself to grow in, because I'm not just trying to like compartmentalize my life and just leave them in these boxes. Like I'm trying to put myself in these places that I can continue planting seeds and I can continue growing. And I kind of want every aspect of my life to be that way, like with my family, my friends, and my romantic life, like everything. I need to put everything in places where they can move and grow and like nurture all these things in a healthy way. Because I'm also, it's like I talked to you guys like after my birthday, right? Like there's things that I've been changing, like certain relationships and certain just moves that I've been trying to make to better myself. And this weekend, again, I was able to realize and see certain things and just be like, damn, this is what I need more of. Not just the experiences, but just I need to feel like I'm in a place that I can let myself be who I am and then let myself enjoy the time that I'm in and not think about it after the fact and be like, ah, dude, you fucked up. You know, you could have just not been in your head for this moment. You probably would have really enjoyed that drink. You would have really enjoyed that time. And I noticed the first place that we went to, which was in the art district, and it was like this random building. And then we just kind of went inside and it was all like super, how would you say, like brutalist. So for those of you guys who are into architecture and like art and things like that, brutalist stuff is like just very cold. It's very cement, and like there isn't really any like any round edges. Everything's very like square and sharp and things like that. So we're in this like very brutalist structure and we're looking at art too. They had like a gallery there. Just wild. Modern art never ceases to amaze me because there'll be like a fucking smudge on the wall or like pipes on the ground and they're like, this is art. And I'm like, God damn it. This is, in my opinion, this is not fucking art. This is just shit that's here. And y'all are just so happening to call it art. Like, no, not here for it. Like, I guess if there's a purpose behind it and you can really break it down for me, okay. But who the fuck am I to judge, right? It's like, what is it? Art is in the eye of the beholder. Like, it's fine. Do with it what you will, however. But we're in this place. And then all of a sudden, there's like a bar slash restaurant. But the restaurant doesn't open until, I think it was like 5:30 in the afternoon. But the bar is open. It's outdoor and it's beautiful. There's just like antique wood and brass and marble and copper everywhere. And the crystal, like the glassware for all the cocktails is just gorgeous. The way everything's being made is beautiful. And it's so peaceful and serene. And there's plants everywhere. And there's like a really gnarly opening in the restaurant. Like, well, I guess it's not technically in the restaurant. It's like in the middle of this building. And it's just like a cutout, like a huge square in the ceiling. And you can see the apartments that are like just past there. And that was a trip too. But just kind of being in this realm, I was like, I just sat with it. I was looking at everything. And my buddy's looking at me like, bro, like you're really enjoying this right now. And I'm like, yes, dude, this is so sick. I'm just processing everything. I'm looking at the grain of the marble, the grain of the wood, like the different types of brass and copper, and like how certain things that were bent and certain things were made, and all of it, just everything overall. Like even the toe kick where you're resting your feet at the bar top. I'm like, look at this, look at all of this. And I feel like I haven't done that in such a long time. Like just let myself be exactly where I was. And it made everything so much more enjoyable. And it was tight because when we got there, it was kind of, it wasn't packed, but the bar top was full. And I had stepped away to use the restroom and I came back and it was weird because it was almost like everyone was gone. There was maybe like, I don't know, 5 people left on this massive bar top. And I was like, okay, cool. All of a sudden it was just like really quiet, really mellow. The music was great. It's fucking amazing. It was like a mixture. A lot of it was like really like mellow new R&B. So like Sabrina Claudio and like things like that. So I'm like, okay, like this is just a whole ass vibe. It's like a slight breeze. It was still really warm. It was hot as, actually it was hot as fuck on Sunday. But it was like a slight breeze and it's obviously hella shaded inside because we're still inside of this building. But I'm like, dude, I'm here for all of this. For all of it. I had a really amazing watermelon cocktail fucking incredible. And I'm like loving it, fucking loving it. And I'm like, this, dude, every sip, I'm like, it's so good. It's this, it's that. It's making me feel this, making me feel that. And I'm like, here we go. This is what life is all about. And after that moment, the whole day was just fucking awesome, start to finish. The next place we went to in the fashion district, same type of situation where it's like, that was actually really wild because you got to see and experience, I feel like LA for truly what it was. Because where it was in the fashion district, for those of you guys who are familiar with that part of LA, the fashion district is nuts. It used to be really beautiful. It was a lot of fun. Now it's actually it's really dangerous now, I would say. It's not like you're gonna go and fucking die, but dude, there's like homeless people everywhere. There's drugs all over the fucking place. People just wilding out everywhere. And especially when you go more towards like the skirts of the district. So if you go into like the jewelry parts, which are on the outside, jewelry and fabric kind of sits on the outside of the district. And that's where this place that we were going to was, but more specifically in the jewelry side. So we're driving up to the spot and I'm like, dude, where the fuck are you taking me, bro? Like, why the fuck are we here? Yeah, crackheads, zombies everywhere. You know what I mean? Like, everyone's just wilding out. And we drove past this dude who was sitting like in a doorway of one of the stores that's closed. All this shit's closed at this time. Like on Sundays, everything closes early over there. But this dude's right there shooting up in the doorway. And I'm like, bro, this is nuts. This is nuts. So we park, we walk across the street, and there's like this really cute little brewery situation. I thought that's where we're going. So I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Let's run it up. And he's like, nah, dude, let's keep going. We got it. It's over here. So we walk, and all of a sudden, dude, we get like transported to fucking Cuba. And there's like, vintage wood and glass and just everything. It's gorgeous. This fucking restaurant is gorgeous. And I'm like, oh my God, like what the fuck's going on? The whole vibe has changed, like everything. And I'm like, how the fuck did we just go from seeing this dude shoot up outside, like literally a minute from here, and then now we're in this restaurant and we're having this experience and we're going to have these literally amazing cocktails and incredible appetizers. Dude, we had this like tomato garlic, basically not like, I'm not going to say a bruschetta, but it was basically just like tomatoes and sliced garlic over French bread. Oh my God, you guys, I can't explain how amazing this was. And I feel like, in my opinion, a lot of it is the bread. The bread is the fucking catalyst. It's the one thing that's carrying this entire dish, right? And it was toasted perfectly. The inside was like super pillowy. And it wasn't like, I feel like a lot of the times when you order things like that, it gets like the bread is so tough or it's so toasted to a certain point where it kind of like cuts the roof of your mouth and like your tongue feels all scraped up. This was enjoyable through and through. And of course the ingredients as well. I'm sure the tomatoes are incredibly fresh. The garlic's probably incredible as well. On top of that, the one thing that it's all laying in the olive oil, right? So just this entire experience is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And we also had empanadas there too, which were fucking something else, like an entire experience in itself. So just sitting in that, again, getting to sit there and enjoy every aspect of where the fuck I was and what I was doing and who I was with. And also for him, I know it was really enjoyable because it's like he's opening like doors up for myself and he's taking me to places that he knows and that he's frequented. And it's like, bro, I want to share this with you. And I felt like that was really special because I have certain places for myself that I love taking people to, that let's say I frequent or I really love or I really care for. And then when they have that experience, it's kind of like the orb grows and it's like, so you get it. You totally understand it. And then if they want to go there and make their experiences and let's say share that with other people, they can continue to do so. And it's like things just kind of grow out in a positive way. So getting to share that with him was really special. And I know it's a place that he really loves and he really enjoys. And he's always talked about very, very highly. So I always thought like, man, it'd be awesome to experience that and check this place out. And the fact that it was so random and it was exactly at the moment that I needed it. And I think that was one of the favorite things for myself. That it's like, dude, you don't even know what you're giving me right now. You think that you're just bringing me here and we're having a cocktail and some appetizers, but it's so much more than that. You're giving me an opportunity to live life right now, which I feel like I really haven't been doing. I've just been kind of going about it, just kind of living it day at a time, but I'm not really like living in it. And these are moments that I'm now getting to really live for. And these experiences are things like I'm never going to forget it. First time going to these places, and just the way that the day was, the way everything kind of, we went about it. It was so free. It was just easy breezy. And I was like, this is sick, dude. This is fucking sick. Like, I remember getting home that night and I just felt like, I felt so good. And I don't remember the last time I did that, where I was just kind of moseying about random adventures and then coming home and just feeling complete. You know, and then after that experience, we went to go have pizza at Pizzanista in the art district. Really cool little spot, mom and pop, really tiny, very, very intimate inside. That was fucking rad too, dude. The hip hop that they were playing was on fucking point. I think the newest thing that they played was probably like Kendrick. Everything else was like 90s, like early type era hip hop. And I'm like, this is it. The weather had mellowed out. There was a nice little breeze. We ordered some pizza. They were moving the pies. Like shit, fresh shit was coming out. So I said, cool. You know, I got my slices. Banging ass pizza. Banging ass pizza. For what it is, zero complaints. So we're chilling there, shooting the shit. Had a Miller High Life, which I don't remember the last time I had a fucking Miller High Life. But it was dope to just have pizza and beer with my boy like that. And we're sitting there talking about the day, bullshitting. And then next to us, there was a couple, like there was these two girls that were sitting next to us. Hella cool. We start talking with them, shooting the shit, start talking career stuff. And like, it was just nice to have conversation with people. And I was just like, this is so random. So random this entire day. But look at how it turned out. We're out here just meeting people, talking to different things, looking at different situations, you know, even just going about what we're doing. And I was talking about like a lot of heavy shit with him too. Just career things, what I'm trying to do, where I'm trying to move, what I'm trying to go. And he's always been really supportive of what I'm trying to do. So I was able to kind of work through some things myself. But it's like, these are the experiences that I'm trying to constantly live in, especially now. And I noticed I was breathing different that day. I was moving different that day. And when I really let myself be, that's when I feel like the day fucking opened up. And I was like, oh, damn, this is different. It feels different. I wasn't checking my phone 24/7. Again, I wasn't like looking for a response from somebody. I wasn't texting somebody, this, and that. And I'm not talking about the aspect of like being single. It's not what I'm talking about. Because I know some of it might come off that way. Like, oh, are you like in that full single mindset? Like, and that's not what I'm talking about. It's like, I'm really talking about letting myself live and not be at like my phone or at my world that I've created, not being at its beck and call, not responding to messages, not doing this. Because it's like, this is where I am. If it's that much of an emergency, I'm going to get a phone call. And at that point, I'll deal with it then. But if it's a text or if it's something else, that it's okay. I don't have to respond right away. I'm going to live in this moment. I'm going to do this thing rather than having to constantly stop myself and be like, oh, let me attend to this because XYZ reasons. Like, no, live in this right now because you're never going to get it back. And do you want to sit there and look back on the day and be like, fuck, dude, you were just in your head. You were in your phone the whole fucking time. Even when we were driving around, I didn't want to do it. I had my phone in front of me and it's like, I wanted to look around at the art and I didn't want anything to stop me. So it's like, all right, this is what we got to work on. And it's a process. It's a process for me. I'm still not used to it. These are things that I'm starting to shift again in my life. And because I'm experiencing them this way, especially the way I did on Sunday, it's a huge reinforcer for me to continue doing what I'm doing. And I know a lot of you listening and or watching, you're probably like, fuck, I got to do the same thing. Because maybe you're not. Maybe you're not. Maybe you're in your head a lot and you're starting to think and you're bullshitting and you're going like, dude, I have so many homies that are in their heads. God damn. And I'm like, dude, fucking snap out of it. We're right here right now. Where are you at? And it's like, I don't want to be like that myself. I don't want to be like that. I want to be able to live where I am in those moments and have and make those memories to constantly look back on and not have them be like, oh yeah, I was there, but I wasn't really there. It's kind of like my Joshua Tree experience. Like I was there and it was dope, but I feel like for a lot of it, because I mean, I was just going through it. I was hurting. So I feel like I didn't fully enjoy the experience for what it was. Like I enjoyed it to the best of the ability that I was able and that I was capable of, but like it wasn't 100. It wasn't 100. For example, like if I compared it to Sunday, that entire weekend, if I compared it to Sunday, Sunday blows that shit out of the water just because of how I was and how I felt. And it has nothing to do with the people that were there with me, because everyone that was there with me that weekend for Joshua is amazing. I love those people with all my heart, every ounce of blood in me. Love them to fucking death. And they did everything they could. And honestly, because of them, that's why I even was able to enjoy that weekend for what it was. As like as hurt as I was and as like going through it, as I was, because of them, I had a great weekend. But again, I just feel like I wasn't fully in it comparing it to Sunday. And it's like, this is why I need to continue doing this shit. This is the importance of it all. And I had dinner with one of my buddies like 2 weeks ago ish. Yeah, I think like 2 weeks ago now. Went to go get pizza on a Friday. And we started talking about all kinds of shit. And that was something that I got from that conversation, is that he was telling me like, dude, like be present for shit. People that make you happy, let those be the people that kind of dictate what's going on in your life. Put yourself in those experiences, in those moments that are going to bring you happiness, and everything else, let it fall by the wayside. And he's had so much go down in his life that I really take what he says to heart, because he's had it rough. He's had it really fucking rough. And he's landed himself in a place now where he's got his wife, he has his kids, and shit's just, it's there. And it took a lot of work and a lot of effort, but like he really lives his life a certain way. And watching him live that, it makes me happy seeing it. Whatever it is that he's doing, it's like he's in it 110%. And it's like, how do I get there? How do I do that? And even that Friday that I was with him having dinner, when I really let myself be there for this dinner and this conversation, I was like, this is the shit, dude. I fucking love this. Not only do I love the dinner, but it's like everything about it. The fact that I was really spending time with him and that I wasn't somewhere else. My mind wasn't occupied by something else, that I was like right here the whole time. Like, what are we talking about? What are we getting into? And we got into some pretty heavy shit. But I felt so complete after that dinner that I was like, man, I felt like I really made a connection with somebody. And this is what it's all about. Like, I'm trying to constantly establish these heavy connections with people, because I don't need surface level shit anymore. I feel like I'm too old for that, dude. It's cool to have people you just kind of wave high and bye to, you know what I mean? The whole acquaintance thing. But it's like 34 fucking years old, bro. The people that I have around me, like, I need good people around me that I can really just rely on and put my everything on. People that I know that I love and that I fuck with. And it's like, these are the changes that I'm making. These are the shifts that I'm trying to put a focus on, because that's what's important to me. And it's what needs to be important to me. And for the times that I fucking forget, things like that are going to remind me, right? I'm going to have moments like that dinner that I had. I'm going to have moments like Sunday. That's what this shit's all about. That's what this shit is all about right now. And I just feel like my shift is really starting to shake things up now, because I'm starting to see how would you say, like the results of it. I'm really starting to see them. And like having dinner with Bams that Friday, heavy, boom, saw my results right away. Said, this is what it is when you let yourself be. This is how it is when you're fully in where you are. Same thing with Sebastian on Sunday. This is what happens when you fully let yourself be. Let yourself fall into these moments. Share, talk about these things, really connect. Let the universe just kind of like go with the flow of things, right? How fucking often do we talk about that shit? How often do we talk about it? All the fucking time, right? It's always like, Go with the flow. Let the water take you. And I got to experience that, and I've been experiencing that more. I did it on the 4th of July, and it was awesome for me by myself. So it's like, okay, this is what it is. And now being with these people that I love and care for, I'm like, this is what happens when you just let yourself be with these people. This is it. This is what it's all about. And even Izzy, what was it? A couple weeks ago, I went out to Yucaipa for his birthday. Same thing. I mean, one, I wasn't going to miss that for the world, but it's like when I was there with him and just with the people that were around us, I'm like, sick, dude. Sick. After that, I went to Albert and Yessie's. We kicked it for a bit. That was nice too. And just letting myself be in it and not worry about the next day, not worry about what's on my phone and who I have to respond to and what the fuck's going on. Like, okay, so this is what 34 is looking like. This is what seems to be the theme right now. And of course, it can change. Things can change at any fucking point in time. But I'm here for this right now. And I know a lot of you listening or watching, either you've experienced something like that, or maybe this might be your time too. Who knows? Maybe after listening to this shit, you might sit there and think about it. Like, hey, you know what? The way I move really doesn't feel like the way that he's talking about. And I'm not saying that what I'm doing is right. I'm not saying for all of y'all to go out and do shit like this. That's not what I'm saying. But maybe me talking about this type of shit provides some sort of insight, or maybe it kind of opens up a little window or a door to be like, hey, maybe I'm not moving right. Maybe I'm not moving a certain way. And I want to feel what he's feeling. Because for what I felt, especially with these experiences that I've listed, I don't know, y'all. Like, I feel a little bit different. I do. And I feel it on a day in, day basis. Like, it feels different. Another one, even last night, I went to go kick it with my aunt, my Uncle Alfredo's wife, and my little cousin Mia. Chilling, shooting the shit. But it was nice to just let myself be with them and catch up and talk about all these things. So I got home at like, I don't know, maybe like 2:15, some shit like that. And I got there at 7. We just spent the whole night just laughing and bullshitting and talking and enjoying each other's company. We had dinner. It was really nice. And I'm like, I don't know what all of these things are trying to show me, but it's like, all I know is that if I put myself and let myself be in these moments, everything's going to be so much more meaningful. And sure enough, it's really proving to be that. So I'm trying to keep myself in this mindset. I'm trying to keep myself in this place because it feels healthy. It feels right. I even notice like my eating habits are changing. Granted, they're still shitty. They're still super shitty. And I don't mean like what I'm actually eating, but it's like the amount that I'm eating. Because my fasting periods, I'm doing like unintentional fasting, but they're like super extended. But like even the last few days that I felt a little bit better and I just feel a little bit more whole, a little more complete, I notice that I'm eating more. And I'm just kind of taking care of myself a little bit more. Like, I'm very conscious of certain things. And it's like, all right, this type of feeling and behavior is overflowing into other sectors of my life. And I like that. I like that I get up and that I want to have something to eat. And that I'm not just going to stress and not eat for X amount of time. I like that. That it's like I'm not punishing myself. That I'm just letting myself live and letting myself be and just kind of wherever the fuck I'm at. I like that shit. And if you guys aren't doing that, if you feel something needs a shift in your life, start shifting that shit up right now. Today, when you listen to this, after, when you get off, however, do it. Because I'm telling you right now, from the things that I'm already starting to shift, granted, it's taking time, but even from the small changes that are being made, I'm starting to see the results. I'm really starting to see it, and I'm starting to feel it and starting to understand, like, this is what I need. This is why I need it. And I'm not saying it's going to fucking change your life, because who the fuck knows? Everybody needs different shit. Y'all don't need what I need, and it is what it is, right? But some of y'all might benefit from it, because you might turn around and say, oh, I didn't know that. I never thought about it like that. Maybe I need to fucking pay attention to this shit. You do it, all of a sudden you're like, ooh, things will feel a little bit different. There you go. Results. That's what I'm talking about. You put yourself in positions that you could feel shit. You could feel good things, because that's what this life is about, right? It's the experiences. It's really fucking short. Time is passing by so quickly. so fucking quickly. And I feel like with the way tech is moving, the way everything's moving, I feel like it's almost making time go by faster because of how much information we're being, fed all the time. And we're constantly wanting new, we're constantly wanting this and that and this and that. And it's like, slow down. And allowing myself to slow down and be has brought so much positivity into my life and so much love and so much warmth. And it's like, okay. And honestly, even for myself, not just feeling it from other people, but for me getting to love and appreciate and be with myself. Because I don't do that. I don't acknowledge things. I'm not just like happy with me. And when I have my moments like this and I get to allow myself, it's like, so this is what this happiness, this like solo self happiness feels like. That's what this shit's about. So I'm trying, you guys. I'm trying my hardest to continue on this path and to continue just allowing myself to be, to live, and to process life and whatever is being thrown at me in that exact moment, to stay out of my head, to stay off my phone, stay out of bullshit, to keep away from people who don't bring good things into my life. Because it's like, if they're not trying to bring something good into my life, why the fuck am I going to try to keep them there, right? Like, why allow and welcome chaos? If something's going to be chaotic or becomes chaotic, that's something else. But if I see it and I allow that in, then it's like, well, whatever happens is completely on you. You did this to yourself. You allowed this shit to happen, and this is what happened. And I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to allow certain people into my life. I don't want to allow certain things into my life. And I have to be conscious of that. It's something actually we all have to be conscious of, for sure. So I really appreciate you guys being here for this, for tuning in, for listening, being a part of the conversation. And I really hope that for this episode, you guys can take it to your partners, to your friends, even for yourself. Have these conversations. Open the doors up and see what's up. I'm always so curious when I get DMs from you guys, messages, calls, anything like that about these episodes. It's my favorite fucking thing. I know I say it all the time, but it is. Because the conversations that get started, they end up being so heavy. And I'm like, this is it. This is why I fucking do this. This is why I fucking do this. To have these conversations with the homies. To have conversations in general about real shit. Because life's too short for surface level. It's too short. Get to know the people around you. Love the people around you. And don't be afraid to say that you love them either. That's what this shit's all about. Fucking do it. It's a short time. The way I see it, you want to live it to your fullest, right? You want to love as hard as you can. You want to be yourself as much as you can. Be your truest self. And live your best fucking life. That's what this shit is all about. That's what this whole thing is about. This whole game. It's not about winning. It's not about losing. It's just about doing it the best way that you can and to try and be as happy as you possibly can. But again, I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your week, an incredible weekend. Stay cool. For those of y'all out in SoCal, you already know that heat wave's coming in. It's heavy right now. It's bad. For those of y'all who are in other states, other parts of the world, if you're dealing with this shit too, stay cool, stay hydrated. You already know what's up. But I love y'all. I'll catch you on the next one. And I appreciate you guys.